Is there blood? Who's killing who? Where did they get shot? I have to see. Things are really starting to get exciting. Yes, 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 yes.
What's up, guys? I'm back again with episode 3 of this series, and let's see where we last left off. Pretty sure we ended up just doing all the race stuff and then preparing to create the second page and the transition to the second page. So what do we got? Yeah, we got the back button, which goes back as it's meant to. The next button, which shouldn't do anything. Yep, the randomized button that won't piss off. I didn't actually look at that. I probably should have. But doesn't really matter. Again, I can do a touch-up thing at the end of this series to somewhat change things that shouldn't be. But anyway, what we're going to do right now is we're going to create the second frame, and we're also going to create the transition to that second frame. So first things first is we want to look back at this. And what I'm actually going to be doing for this is I'm going to change something. I'm going to just get rid of that 2, so when it starts up, it's going to be showing the frame... Whoops. Reload UI. It's going to show just frame 2 instead. And the races aren't going to show because obviously I haven't actually got them there. And yeah, so from now on when I go to this, it's just going to show this frame instead. But anyway, what we need to do now is we need to change... We actually need to add the next button, that's right. No, we need to add the actual thing the next button does. I'm actually going to undo what I just did. Control save. Reload UI. There we go. Now we're going to actually edit this next button a bit. We need to actually add it in. Function... What the hell would we call it? That's the OK button. Wait, is that... Yeah, it's OK button. Next button 1. Or what do we actually call it? Alright, we called it next 1. Is that it? Oh, character create next 1. I'm like, what the hell? What kind of a name is that? Next 1. Alright. End that function. Okay, so first things first, when we hit this button, we want frame 1 to hide. Like, we don't want frame 1 to show. And we actually do want frame 2 to show. In that order, preferably, just to minimize any possible mistakes that happen. So if we just look at that very quickly, that should be easy enough. When we click this, bang. So simple. And then that back button needs to be hidden as well. But anyway, that's another problem. Reload UI. It's going to remember the last thing you're at. But if you click back and all that stuff, it won't really matter at the end of this. So that's that done. What else? We need to hide the next and back buttons. Yep. What were those ones called? Next button 1. Hide that. And again, a lot of this is going to be the same stuff, but as the previous one, because that's all this shit really is at first. So if you want to skip this episode, you probably can, to be honest. If not, you never know. There could be something that I come across that might be a little different, but doesn't really matter. We want to get rid of... No, not the show button. What was the other one we're getting rid of? Getting rid of the back and next button. Back button. Because a lot of this really is, like, you can do other types of pages, but this is the way I prefer to do it because it's just simple. Whoops, I forgot to add to the end of these, and they seem to work anyway. That's kind of weird. No harm done. So when I click next, it gets rid of both those, because we need to add in new buttons after that. And I need to get rid of all of these too, in fact. Let's reload the UI one more time. That's all I really need to do, to be honest. For removing stuff. I do need to remove this as well, actually. So let's go ahead and do that. No, not character. Oh yeah, I can copy this one and just change it to race. Doesn't matter. Race. And then we also want to make it so it shows the class. Show. So reload UI. Next. There we go. Now we've got to move that up eventually. I think that's basically it for the removal of stuff. We need to show the buttons that we add here, but they haven't been added yet, so might want to do that at some point. You know what? Let's add them now, actually. Why not? Next button 2. Next 2. easy enough. And now we need to get rid of the back button as well. I'll chuck back button 2 below these ones though. How many next buttons? We're going to need one more next button. Because next button 2 goes to next button, goes to page 3. Yeah, and the next button. Yeah, that makes sense. And then need 3. If not, we can easily add another one. That's a create back button 2, back 2, because they all need to be different. So now we need to add the next and back button to show in here. That's easy enough. Show that. That's back button. Show. Reload the UI. Next, and that crashes because back button. Chart create back button 1. Okay, even though it shows the new back button. Interesting why that crashed. What did I write it as? Oh no, that's right, it's back button 2. Whoops. Because I didn't actually name the first one, I left it unnamed. So that's back button 2. No harm, no foul. Back, there we go. Now I want to actually edit these 2 next and back buttons just because that way I can actually, I want to edit the back button at least, sorry. Not both of them, but the back button. Let's go next to the, wait, is that, yeah, that is next one. Remove. Alright, we're going to leave that there actually, because I'm just not going to click the button. And that way it kind of refreshes. I'm just doing this so I can actually add the back button here. Back 2, so it's kind of in order. Then we need to reverse half of this shit. So this needs to show, this needs to hide. Whoops. This needs to show. Like this literally is just reversing it all because that way it goes back to the previous frame how it was. Which kind of works pretty well because I don't have to really do much. I just have to change these shows to hides and vice versa. Very easy stuff. Reload UI, next, and back. Oops, back button 2 on click. What did I do? Whoops, I called it backle. The good old backle button. Next and back. There we go. Easy enough. So that way I can just get an updated thing for it a lot easier. And then the next buttons can just stay like that for now. So next up we want to remove some of this stuff in this frame and move up the race thing. I'll move up the class thing, sorry, not race thing. I'll move that up first. Character create class. Well, that was a nice little scroll to it. Is this relevant? Yeah, it is relevant too. But what we're going to do is we're just going to take the same anchor positioning from this and we're just going to use that instead. Because it's going to be in the same position as the race thing. Reload UI. Ooh, that's what I forgot. Those are in relation to that. To change the class thing. Or I can make them relative to the WoW logo instead, actually. Because the WoW logo is not going to be moved. It's going to stay in the same spot for everything. Class, change that. Change that. Then we're going to have to lower the y-axis a lot. Well, that's kind of an annoying little tedious thing. Next button 2. But what you gonna do? It happens. That's one of the only annoying things about doing WoW modding is a lot of it is just tedious work. So let's move them up there because it's now relevant to that. Relative, sorry, not relevant. And now we're going to move them down. Alright, so what's the first one? We'll do the back button because the back button will give us the right one and we can see that the whole time. Let's go with minus 512. Whoops, numlock isn't on. Oh, dare numlock not be on. 512, where'd that put it? That put it down to there. That's pretty close. That's pretty close. Let's add an extra 64 on top of that. 512 plus 64, 576. Probably could have done that with my own math, but you know, calculator OP. And there we have it. That's easy enough. So I just got to change all of them to that. Copy that. Another thing just to keep in mind is obviously they're all -3, so that's all I've got to keep an eye out for is any -3 I just got to change. Save that, and all buttons should be done. But the thing is, I just saw that other back button isn't hidden. Oh, that's right, that's right. One thing I forgot to do is the startup needs to hide the new back and next buttons because they don't want them showing unless you actually have to. So this needs to be there, and so does this. Hide. Reload UI. There, and the other next button's still there because I created 3 next buttons, so I could probably add another one of these in. Actually, I'll add it in there. 3 and hide. And I'm going to change that because that says back. Next, reload UI. There we go. Now the boldness is gone, and we've got to adjust loads when you click on the buttons. So now, as I said, that's been moved. Now we just need to remove some of this shit. Basically going to do the same thing we did in the last episode again, because, you know, that's how this shit works. Too high. Configuration frame 1, configuration frame 2. Here we go. So we don't want this label anymore. The alliance label. We don't want the... Wait, what are we doing in this page? Hang on, let me check this again. This is gender and customization, so we don't want the actual... we don't want that there. We do want the gender. We don't want the class name because we're not caring about classes. Okay, so race buttons can all go. I just had a thought. I better not do this right like this because if I don't copy and paste it all while it's there, I'm going to lose it all. So before deleting that, I want to go to top of configuration frame. Oops, not that. Or is it configuration frame 2? And I'm going to make configuration frame 3. Because I want this information, because that way I can just easily delete what I need to delete when I get to the next frame. So I'll have to go like that. Where's this end? There. Alright, so now before I go any further, just so I remember, I've got to add the frame 3 to be hidden at startup. Because we don't want that overlapping. And now we've got to edit this frame 2. Oh shit, I better change the name of the frame 3. Change some of these names. That can be 4, 5, 6 because I'm going to rename the top ones anyway to 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, sorry, not 1, 2, 3, 4. Because if you remember, I deleted those other ones at the very start in the previous frame. Whoa, I've gone way too far. This configuration frame 1. Frame 2. Yeah, because these borders aren't actually in the other one because I got rid of them. 2, 1, 1. Oops, not 13. Yeah, that's crazy. Create banners. The banners disappear because we don't want them in this one. Whoops, I almost deleted the layer. Alliance label, they can both go. Font string can go. Gender stays. Class name goes. That could be a bit of a problem, actually. Because I'm just thinking, if I do it in order of customization and gender before the class... Yeah, I really should do class first, so let's undo some of this stuff. What did I delete here? Oh, no, that's where I want to delete to. Change that to 1 and 3. And what did I get rid of? Banners need to go still. Yep, alright, so we're back to where we want to be. Banners go. Labels go. That goes. That's an old thing, I'm pretty sure. That's why that's still there. Whoops, I got rid of part of something I didn't want to. Oh, that's what... Did I get rid of that? Oh, whoops, my bad. Alright, so we don't want the gender there, but we want the class name. And now the next part is fairly simple. Get rid of all the race buttons, because we've already got them. Get rid of the gender buttons, gender button, and now we're down to class buttons. Character randomization button can go from this frame. In fact, that's what I can do. Yeah, that's what I can do. No, never mind. That's the wrong frame. Never mind. I'm going crazy. Going crazy. Now if I save that, let's see if I've got any errors that I fucked up on. Nope, there we go. Now we just got the warrior frame and this type of stuff. And we can edit this frame to whatever we want. We can have it so it goes just down in one big line instead. Which, you know what, I think I might do that. I think I might do that. Rather than make it take up a whole bunch of our space, I might just make it one big line. So what we need to do for that first is we need to change these class buttons to... Alright, so we need to change this from 0 to 6, because this is the... As you can see, this inherits class 1. So class 1 is the warrior. Now I'm trying to make these buttons go down to here. So if I just change this 1... I've done it the wrong way. I think it needs to be -6. The paladin should have moved down lower. Alright, so it needs to be moved a lot lower. It needs to be moved like 32. Maybe even a bit more. Or 38 maybe to get the little gap in between as well. Next button. Nope, still further. 32. That's what I need to do. Bottom, change it from anchoring it from the left to the top and making it so it goes to the bottom. Then we can go back to -6. That should do it. Next button, there we go. Easy enough. And we should also bring that back up higher before we move any further, otherwise we're going to have them off the page. Whoa, what's that relative to? Oh, it doesn't matter. Let's bring it up to 128. See where that goes. Alright, we're getting there. We wanted a bit higher than that, probably to 64. 64. Next. Yeah, that'll do, because that way I can put the mage label up there and whoops. Also, this server's offline, by the way. Ah, god damn it. Reload UI. This server's an offline thing, by the way. It's not actually something that other people can access. Class name needs to be moved up to significantly higher. Alright, so if these are at, what was it, 64. Move that to -64 and it should be overlapping. There we go. Mage, that needs to go even higher though. So perhaps we'll move it to 32 and see how that goes. 32, 32. Next button. Yeah, that's much better. Now I have two choices. As I said, I can make it so they're all just overlapped here, or I can make it one long panel. You know, I'm just going to make them how it was, but I'll edit it later on in another video. Because again, I just want to get all this mechanical stuff done first, because it's just, yeah, easier. 0. So I will end up doing that, but not yet. I'll make like an aesthetics episode or a couple episodes at the end of this series to get it looking a lot neater. But one thing I will do is I will... Whoa, what the fuck? Oh, I forgot to change the relative points. Relative to left. And right. I think that's it. Oops. Did I type anything by accident? No. Oh, good. Reload UI. There we go, so that's just that. Now I need to add a little gap in between them, so these need to be probably about 38, maybe 48 even. How's that gap in between? Oh, that's good, 38 was good. What I will do though, with editing aesthetics, is I'll shorten this. Now, this is actually separated into 3 pieces. You've got the middle section and the top and bottom piece. I'm going to get rid of the middle section completely. So what we need to do is we need to go up to the borders. And yep, this is configuration 2 border. Texture, border 2 gets deleted. Completely gone. Now I'm going to rename that to 2, rename that to 1, and that to 2. Now I'm not sure how the background image is going to go. Reload. Alright, good. The background image does follow the 2 of them. Now we've got to just merge these 2 together basically. What I can do is, as these are this long, they're going to cut in half about here. I do need to shorten them to about half the width each, and then I can overlap them a bit. Because the overlapping is not going to make a difference because they're the same thing. They got the same pattern. So the size can go to 128 and 128. Then they can move up by 128. Or one of them can move up by 128. And that should be... Alright, so it didn't move it up for some reason. Relative point bottom, border 1, that is border 1. Alright, let's bring this to 0 actually. And see how that goes. Because it did... Yeah, there we go, that's better. But now I need to still make them smaller. And as you can see, the background's kind of gone askew, so I'm going to have to actually adjust that a little bit. But no worries. What do I want to do? I want to move it up further. So, what was it? Let's go with 64. See how that looks. Again, a lot of this is just trial and error, trial and error. Alright, so that's getting better. But we still want it a bit smaller. I'll try 128, but I think that'll be too much. I think I need to go in between 128 and 64. Alright, that's actually perfect, but I need to fix the background now. Alright, so let's have a look at the background and how it works. It just sticks to the anchor points at the top. Here we go. Go 0, 0. This might be a little too much, so I might have to change this a bit. Actually, I will do this properly. I'm not going to just cheapen it. Let's drop this to about a 2. That to a 0. That to a 2, and that to a 0. Reload UI. There we go, now it's overlapping on this side, and it's a little sharp at the top. I don't know if I can fix the top section all that much. But what happens if I go... Alright, so that should be a 2, and that should be a -2. I think it's... Whoops, that's the y-axis. What am I doing? What am I doing? Y-axis, 0, 0. How'd this go? Alright, that actually made it worse for some weird reason. So we're going to make this a... What was it on? Make these 4s. See how that goes. We're getting there, we're getting there. We still need to go up. I think it needs to go up to 6. And again, this is a lot of WoW modding, just trial and error, until you eventually get it right. Alrighty, that's pretty good. It kind of looks like it's a bit of an overlay, but what you're going to do, might actually put that to 7 and see how that looks. And these I might put to -1 and 1. See if that makes the out borders look neater, because you have got this border to work with. Like, don't forget that border does it does count for a width. As you can see, there's a little slight error in the graphics here, but this is because we're just doing really cheap methods. If you really wanted to, you could go over the actual images and replace them, which would be a much better option. I might eventually do that, but I don't really know. I'm not really a graphical person, to be honest. But that is the way you would properly do it. This is more just how you work with interface for the sake of working with interface. Another thing I could do instead is I could actually lower this by about 4. Oh, no, not that way. I want to go 24. So I'll be further away from it. There we go, like that. That was easy. So there are workarounds instead of actually having to do things properly, but doing things properly is always better at the end of the day. So what else do we need? Is that it? Well, that's really it. That's all we need to do for this episode. But as you can see what I mean by... That means all this stuff here can have extra stuff, or over here I can extend this. But you can add things of your own that you want to add for your own actual... for your own server. Like if you go more in depth and do some DBC editing, you can actually add like star signs or something for the warrior, or maybe like you could add talent trees to this section instead, so you have to pick a certain talent tree. It just opens up your options so much more. But anyway guys, I'm going to leave that for this